Yeah. I just need to ignore you for an hour and a half.
Be gone. It's being live streamed. Got it.
Yeah, they're really good. I have nothing to complain about in terms of the kids. I had a house guest this month who was terrible, but
I saw something about that.
yeah, I mean, I figured it out pretty quick. You know, I figure things out pretty quick, right? Like, so
Yeah.
I just wasn't saying a whole lot about it because I was just hoping that it would.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and it mostly did. So
yeah.
We're live right now with our weekly weather radio show recording session, talking about all the big stories. But yeah, I could get into that one for a bit. I mean, there's some funny things to say, but first I just got to get this whole get the thing to the people so that someone comes, because I want someone to come, right? Talking about all the big stories in weather this week and laughing about everyone's misfortunes. Join us.
Oh my God.
Now.
Without naming names, security post that I've had a few times in the last month. It's the most fascinating zoo. It's a human zoo. The anomalies that I see in that place. There is an employee who literally will just walk while staring at the ceiling and bump into people and then just stop without even blinking. I don't know how to explain it. It's the weirdest thing to see an employee literally just slowly wandering, seemingly doing nothing, and then just stop when she walks into another person and not back up, not, say, oh, excuse me, sorry, I didn't see there. Nothing like that. No, just stop. And
people
are
insanely disconnected. That's what I notice.
She's not on her phone, if that's what you're thinking.
No, but in general, and it's interesting that you brought phone up, because that's certainly something I noticed recently, again, is people just being glued to the TikTok. Well, this person is at my house in general, just like fucking 12 hours a day, 15 hours a day, just
oblivious to the surroundings.
And and that's, you can put the phone away. You can put the phone away, but if you're training your mind to behave in that way, that's about how your interaction with the greater world is going to be too. Short attention span. Can you imagine you needing more than 15 seconds? And so that's why I refuse to make TikTok videos, because I think it's a shitty medium. It's probably the worst platform I've ever seen. At least with YouTube, I can have some time to put content out that matters. If we spend 90 minutes talking about something, if it really matters, well, hey, that's good 90 minutes, man.
For the 5 people who have that attention span, it's good. I personally am not a fan of YouTube, just because the way that they prioritize the content, and the way that they treat their creators, I'm not a fan. Incidentally, I also don't think much of TikTok either. I'm on both platforms, mind you.
I have no real complaints, personally.
Yeah.
But my interaction with YouTube, it's been really good. I think in a lot of ways, my experience as a user, I really enjoy it because I've spent years kind of subscribing to the channels I want to subscribe to and watching the kind of videos I want to watch. So it almost always, when I go to the front page, is showing me things I want to watch. So then what I'll do is I'll add 10 or 15 things to my watch list and sit there and watch through 10 or 15 things at a time. And each one of those videos is 10, 20 minutes long. And each one of them is about history or science or something. Some of them are longer,
sure.
But I mean, you can easily go and find some of the same fluff. And I know YouTube's trying to do that with the shorts. They're trying to like seize
Ugh,
on the short
yeah,
attention span craze. But
they are.
what we're doing is we're training ourselves, training people to be oblivious,
Um, well, with
essentially.
YouTube, I mean, their algorithm, you would think that it would follow the go down the rabbit hole that you go down. So you start looking up specific videos, and you think it would continue that theme. My experience with YouTube is not that. I'll put on 80s thrash music videos, heavy metal, and then all of a sudden YouTube is trying to steer me towards pop music, modern pop top 40. I'm going down the rabbit hole of Accept and Wasp, and all of a sudden I'm being steered towards Ariana Grande. I don't like it. It's just, I don't like it. Then they've reset my view counts a few times when I worked hard to get those numbers up. So, and it was arbitrary. I couldn't get anywhere in terms of answers. It was, I don't like it. I feel like I should be shaking my fist and yelling at kids on my lawn for that. All right, there's nothing on your screen. I just see that you're.
Well, that's what I do
What?
all the time. In fact, that's what my YouTube is all about. Is it'll come. There's always a delay in my, and it makes my internet unstable for a second. Is it there yet?
See,
yes.
senor.
See, this is so my YouTube. This is what I'm getting to. Is my YouTube is a place where I stand on the porch and shout at all the kids from my, and so I've been shouting about the avalanche conditions for 3 days.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, well, and a couple weeks ago I said this setup is coming, and I didn't just make this up. I mean, this is logic. It's what the experts we're saying. Get that nice cold snap in the hoarfrost layer, and then we're going to get a bunch of freshy on top, and then we're going to have an unstable situation. I mean, that's just how it always goes. And so it was logic. And I've been saying for a few weeks this was coming, and now it's here. And we have this like widespread avalanche warning in BC, and people are still out dicking around in the mountains. And so I'm frustrated because Yanks Peak is here, basically. Like, so there's the end of Highway 26. And then you sled out from Barkerville, and then you come up and you go over Yanks Peak. Look, there's been 3 avalanche reports, one involving a person injured or not injured. He was caught, but not buried.
Oh, dang.
The Ritter, this is brilliant. The Ritter was side hilling across the top and released the slide near a rock outcropping. Most of the slope moved. The rider pulled his Avi pack, allowing him to stay near surface. So that's pretty cool of him, actually.
Yeah.
But I was hoping we get a better picture, but no, it's just real small, I guess. That's the avalanche.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this is going on. I mean, avalanche. There's been so many incidents this last week, and people are. I don't know how to yell loud enough, because my last video I made got 85 views. And I'm like, someone's going to die. I'm trying to like get the word out there. Someone's going to die. The avalanche situation is really bad. It may be settling by the day. But the thing is, even if the triggers aren't dynamite triggers, the way that they were even yesterday, going forward for the next bunch of days, the possibility of large scale avalanche exists, right? So we're talking about really big slides that if you get caught in, like, you are fucked.
Yeah, no kidding. You cannot surf out of it.
Yeah, there's been quite a few incidents this week, and it's been mostly lucky. I mean, so there was one near Banff. There was one outside Kimberley. Yes. Yeah. And there was today in Quesnel, reported today at least, and there was one also up by Terrace somewhere. And then we got this other one down by Revelstoke. So no one killed in any of these, and no one seriously injured. The one in Revelstoke, the guy was buried for 3 minutes.
Oh, wow, that's fast.
That's terrifying. Can you imagine being 3 minutes?
I've been in some pretty wild situations, but not buried in an avalanche. Nearly drowned a
Same.
bunch of times, but I don't think it's the same. It's a different kind of fear of death.
Well, I think drowning is more pleasant compared to a lot of ways you can go.
Oh, yeah, but are we comparing drowning to death in avalanche? Like, what's the specific cause of death if you're buried in snow? Is it hypothermia related? Is it that you freeze to death? Or, if it caves right in, are you crushed? How far down do you have to be crushed by the weight of the snow? And would your body heat sort of like melt a little cocoon around you
Well, it
with
wouldn't
slight
take a whole.
reinforcement?
Well, think of it more like, when the snowplow goes by. So
Yeah,
like say you're shoveling your driveway
yeah,
and it's not too hard to shovel. You shovel along, but then a snowplow comes and puts a big berm there, and you try to
yeah.
shovel that berm. It's like a fucking rock, right? So that's more or less how
Okay.
an avalanche settles. You see it flying down the slope, and it's a bunch of powder flying through the air, and it just
It
goes.
looks like that, but that's what's above it. That's the fog.
Yeah, well, that fog is actually snow
Yeah.
that settles quickly and kills you. So yeah, I
Fair
mean,
enough.
there's a number of ways you could die, but running out of oxygen is a pretty clear one. People have been known to dig down.
Yeah.
They get
Yeah,
in
they get
and
disoriented.
they don't know which way is up or down. So
Yeah. It would be pretty disorienting after being tumbled around like that and having no concept of like anything,
You spit.
no concept of like gravity.
you can't panic. You have to
Focus. Yeah.
realize your situation and focus. There's a slope that
Yeah.
3 minutes buried. So I mean
Oh,
that's
man.
tremendous. He had
It
his
could have been too
beacon.
deep.
They had the tools. These are
Oh, shit. Okay.
good mountain riders in that regard, right?
Yeah.
But even then, like some of this terrain, people got to start saying, I know it's the holidays and riding's awesome. I get it. But at some point, you got to be like, you know what? Let's stick to the really gentle slopes for a few more days until
Bunny
January 2nd. This avalanche warning exists, right?
Yeah.
Already got we got people watching already. Yeah, give a thumbs up, everybody. That really helps if you share it to your Facebook or something like that, and help us spread it.
Share
We're
it to your
definitely trying to grow the show into something more than just
spread it like herpes. We want to be on something other than public access radio.
that's not public access, it's university radio. That's pretty good.
It's still publicly accessible, ergo public access.
Yes. Okay, yeah, but it's not like remember public access, not like public access like Wayne's World or but Shelley
Is.
hello.
Dude, it kind of
Dale,
is.
Andrew Collette. He's viewing from Mi'kmaq territory in Nova Scotia. Hello, Dale. Right on.
It's worth
Richard
saying.
Bone, my friend over in Alberta, and he's actually in BC. 20-minute drive from White Rock on Boxing Day. Revy had some avalanche work going on, so a leisurely lunch was had. So yeah, trying to get through. And I did say that in my videos yesterday that avalanche control was going on. So you get through when you get through. 20-hour drive, Richard says. So 20 hours, that sucks. Hello from the Okanagan. Hello to you, Christine Jensen, as always. And Imogen here to the rescue, and me here to rescue Imogen too.
Imogen Simp Brigade? What? Oh God.
Yeah, I told you about this last week. This is disturbing.
I have no idea who that is, but hi.
Definitely disturbing. So
you have not seen my inbox, man. I gotta say, one of the most okay, I can't say the most because there's different categories of cringe, but and there really are some. Most of the messages that I get are pretty harmless. It's just dudes want to say hi and whatnot and chat. But there's one who described how he really wants to take me on a date, where we would go to the beach, and he has this idea of putting me on this, like, what he describes sounds like a really hippie-ish style throne, like a big pile of logs stacked up. So he's trying to describe a big fancy chair is how he worded it, made out of beech wood. He's describing a fucking throne. Well, he sits in the sand at my feet and plays me shitty acoustic music and sings.
That's not what I said. I said I'd play good music.
If it's acoustic, I guarantee I'm going to hate it. I do not like the sound of acoustic guitar. So, I mean, it has its place where it can be good, but if it's
the Joey Only show is fucking pretty good, man.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying there is way worse than anything. Yeah, anyhow.
But yeah, that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing is he described in elaborate detail several times how this is his like idea of a dream date. It's just sing at me while I sit on a fucking driftwood throne. This sounds horrible. I would much rather hear about dudes buried in an avalanche.
Well, you're in the wrong part of the fucking world, dear. You need to realize that Victoria is always going to be soft and weak. Public avalanche warning. This is what I've been talking about, everybody. This is a special public avalanche warning for it's in effect until Monday, January 2nd. So that's what SPA means. Anytime you see it, says special public avalanche warning. The SPA region includes most of the BC Columbia Mountains, Glacier, and Mount Revelstoke National Parks, as well as the Northern Rockies. It doesn't say the Caribou Mountain Range on this, which is fail to Avalanche Canada. Nonetheless, if you look at the map, we are clearly in there, and the incident today would confirm that we have bad conditions. The SPA extends from the southern boundaries of the Purcell Wilderness Conservancy and the Kokanee and Valhalla Provincial Parks to Williston Lake north of Pine Pass and Mackenzie. The recent storm and subsequent weather conditions have destabilized the weak snowpack. A prolonged cold and dry start to winter created a number of persistent weak layers in the snowpack across the interior ranges of BC. The recent storm and warming temperatures have now destabilized that weak snowpack, making large human-triggered avalanches likely. Making large human-triggered avalanches really fucking likely, people. The storm cycle that hit Western Canada over the past weekend added significant snow on top to an exceptionally weak lower snowpack. This has brought the conditions to a tipping point where dangerous avalanches are likely. No one's been killed yet that I know of.
Okay, so they're likely, but how do we bump that up to guaranteed? What do we need to do? I'm thinking a bunch of yodelers and harmonica players out there.
I mean, I say they're guaranteed. It's just that you can't guarantee where and when, right? So that's why they have to use the word likely. The storm cycle that hit Western Canada over the past weekend added, I already said that. While an avalanche danger ratings may start to decrease as the weather improves, there will be a chance of triggering large avalanches that can sink you and kill you and really wreck your goddamn family. Making conservative terrain choices can help manage you from screwing your entire life over for a goddamn joyride. Sticking to the lower angle slopes and choosing smaller objectives that minimize the consequences of avalanches are an example of how to not be fucking idiot.
Well, where's the fun in that? Come on, if you're not risking death, what are you risking?
Well, it's all I've got left to risk. I don't own money. I don't have love. I don't have.
You have nothing.
That's not true. I got a great lodge. I got a radio show. I got
you got some Star Wars toys hanging out.
Yeah, I'm and some
children.
Different random movie and music props from random stupid things. Yep.
And, that's awesome.
And
is that your head behind you?
Yeah, there's a moose over here, right? And then the deer's up here. And I got a lot of lights on right now. The coyotelope's over there. The cow yotelope's in the corner. I probably got like 20 fucking moose antlers around and things like that.
That is
right?
Awesome.
Beaver skulls, and I know where to find lots of fossils. So every time someone's here, then I like, it's not like
I need some fossils.
I'm not trying to be a player. Like I'm not trying to like play you if I did this to you ever, but you're like looking at the rocks. I'm like, here you go. And I hand you a fossil and you're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I know where to get a truckload of that exact same fossil. So, I tend to give the fossils away because I know where to get a truckload of that exact same fossil.
See, that is super cool. If you ever had the urge to mail me a fossil, I would love that. I have a lack of fossils.
Why don't you come get a fossil?
I will. Okay. You're not old enough.
So here's our spa. The spa. And that's,
Here's
as you can
spa.
see, we are, despite
Not
the
big
fact that it
enough.
didn't say so in the write-up, Avalanche Canada, maybe that's why people are just out triggering avalanches in the backyard here at Yanks Peak, because Avalanche Canada forgot to mention us. They want people in the Caribou to die and suffer.
Yes,
They
they
got
do.
something
That's why they
against
built the
us.
caribou. Hmm?
Oh man, you should see our mountains. Look at they're moving around all the time. Look at it. Ooh. Okay. That's that. Still got
Sure
13
as
minutes
hell
to
is.
showtime. I know Brand Hauk is at his grandmother's house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
What are the chances that Brandon looks so much like his grandma that if we saw his grandma, we just think it was a really old Brandon?
probably pretty high.
See, that's
I
what
can
I'm
imagine.
envisioning now.
I can imagine like Grandma
Brandon as
Brandon
an old lady.
being like the Kids in the Hall character, you know, like it's Brandon, but in a gray wig.
Yes.
Not even gray.
Scott Thompson played the best old lady ever. Did you ever read? Have you read Scott Thompson's book?
No, but
Oh, it's good.
I don't know because Kevin McDonald's old lady was very funny.
It was.
Yeah, like when he's like when Bruce McCullough, did you see the one where Bruce McCullough's like hitting on the old ladies? You know, he's like playing the old ladies, and his mom's bringing the old ladies over, and he's moving on in on the old, and then Kevin McDonald's character's like not like the last time. Oh, the joy. Oh, the passion. Oh, my hip.
Oh my God.
So funny.
Don't remember that one specifically, but I know that character. It's a good character. Yeah.
Totally awesome.
Scott Thompson as the really maternal, motherly type. He plays that domestic mom, that June Cleaver style mom, the worried mother. He's so brilliant with it. And the weird contrast between him out of character just as himself, he lives like out in the bush, like dude's a mountain man. Dude, are you Scott Thompson? Yeah, he disappeared, like he disappeared from the spotlight for a long time to just go live in the mountains in a cabin in the woods kind of thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Scott Thompson is like the absolute manliest one of all of those guys.
Well, I don't doubt that. That's one thing I definitely don't doubt.
Yeah. Dave Foley I always thought was hot as a girl.
He's a very butch
yes.
guy. You know, that's yeah, he's a bear. So
oh my God, yeah.
I'm of the opinion that Bruce McCullough was the worst of the troupe.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
The stupid monologues.
Oh, he really was not, he didn't have very many dimensions.
No.
And
Cow was memorable, but like it's his female characters I think didn't hold up to Dave Foley, or really his female characters were the weakest of them, and his thing was definitely more in the art, like performance art monologue kind of vein.
I mean, the Flying Pig was pretty good at sketch, but
yeah,
the Flying Pig highlights. The Flying Pig that entertains you when you're waiting at ATMs.
In the line. Yeah, the Flying Pig that entertains in the lines.
That entertains lines of people. Look at this Jetstream map. It's so much less extreme than last week's was.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my cousins and whatnot today. It's like, it's warm in Ontario. It's raining. It's,
you
know, what a weird blast they hit. And now they're just, look at that. They're in warm land. It's like super, super warm. And look at that. See that cold there where it says -40, and it's where it should be. It's like up in Greenland or something, not in Wells, British Columbia. Holy fuck, that was ridiculous. But like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you were in Victoria. You're like, yeah, it must have been awful. Like,
yeah, we get like the weakest weather here of everywhere. We almost, which is weird because we're on the very tip of an island. So you think that we'd get hit with the more extreme version of stuff just by default of how that typically hits anywhere else. But we've got like the mountain range more inland definitely protects us from so much, which I don't even understand. But for some inexplicable reason, Victoria is just sheltered from the bulk of the bad, or the
Well,
bulk of all of it.
I can kind of explain. Okay, so here I'm going to set up maps in a second here, and we'll come on, Google Maps. Oh, I want Google Earth, I guess.
You don't want Google. You don't want Google. But good luck getting by without it.
Well, it's better than Twitter.
You almost said Tinder.
Yeah, it's better.
I think everything is better than Tinder. Tinder is gross. Did they tell you about the horrible experience on Tinder or whatever?
No.
I went on one dating app for like an hour, and I wanted to take a look. And I did not understand that if you swipe one way, it means, hey, I like you. And if you swipe the other way, it means, ew, don't talk to me. You're gross.
I think we did talk about this.
Probably. Yeah. And so I went flipping through just thinking, oh, it's a catalog of people. Let's just, flip through a catalog of faces. Didn't realize that I was swiping the way that says, hey, let's hook up. I was swiping the yes way.
That's what I did for quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. That was very bad. Nothing good came of it. I freaked when I realized that. I like all of a sudden I started getting hit with a ton of messages. Most of it was bad, and so I thought I got rid of it, and then all of a sudden my social media blew up with all these weirdos, and then I realized that I did not properly shut down the account or whatever. Oh,
I've never had a date from Tinder, so I've talked to a few people, I guess, a little.
yeah.
But so let's look at the map of Victoria here.
Hey, there it is.
And so like, yeah, you're in the tip of an island, but look where you are in relation to
I know. We've got
all kinds of other stuff, right? So, and your prevailing weather is going to basically come from generally the Olympic National Park area.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the time it's getting off that coast, it's worn down. It's all tuckered out from playing around at the park all day. It's going to sleep well.
And that's why it jumps across and just dumps on Richmond, and it sucks so bad there.
Well, Richmond sucks.
It really has
Richmond. I don't actually know anything about
qualities. Well, I mean, I stayed there for a little while once, and there was a lot of airplanes flying over top all the time. There was that. But yeah, I mean, look at how so much of Vancouver Island is drier than other places. Yeah, it's great.
Oh yeah.
All those mountains just do you so much good. Hey, and that's where Yubu is. Wow, I never knew.
Yubu.
I never knew where Yubu is. That's where
Franklin, Frankie Mac, the man, the myth, the legend. Hey man, how's it going?
Early.
6
How you doing,
Frankie? Fuck is under there? Ew. Hey Frankie. Oh, we lost him.
Frankie is gone.
This is a reminder, Joey, please stop sending dick pics to Frankie. He disappears when you do that.
Yeah, well, he prefers it when I send my own, at least.
Well, yeah. I mean, yes.
That's what
That's what a gentleman would do.
I don't think that's something I've ever done. Although I've always wanted someone
I've sent lots of dick pics.
Always wanted someone to be like, send me one, Joey. So I could be like, oh, weird. I don't know what to do.
Quick, how do I photograph a wang?
Well, it doesn't just look like it's good. It's got to be artistic or something, right?
You got to look at the lighting, and you got to look at the angle. And you got to think, how do I wish for this to be portrayed? How do I want the viewer to observe this masterpiece of manhood? Think of the viewer.
I wouldn't go that far, but
well, then why are you even sending it? If you're not giving it that consideration, it's wasted opportunity.
It's just it's not that I even want to. It's just, how come no one ever asked?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe you're not dating
maybe I'm not sexy. Here's the British Columbia weather coming. Look, we got just 2 lows here, and then another low over there. There's 4 lows. It's the 4 low. Oh, there's another one. 5 lows. Look at his. Oh, okay. So that's the 5 low week of the 5 lows, they called it. And if you were reading Nostradamus, you might recall this. It's New Year's Eve 2023, the week of the 5 lows off the BC coast. And yeah, that's how all the stuff that, can you believe that there are adults out there who blame their astrological signs for their behavior? That was one of the talks on my Facebook today. Look at that, Friday 2 a.m. Oh, you're gonna get lots of moisture down there, Imogen, and then all snow all through in some places. Not really any here though. It's looking pretty boring in the Caribou. Look at that big old low, 979 millibars. That's pretty low. Finally on Friday, 8 a.m. Okay, so yeah, we're getting snow this weekend. That's what that means.
Well, goddamn.
It looks like a lot more for you than us. Not you in Victoria, but your section of BC. You're getting more precipitation. That's what I mean.
Okay, well, I mean, to be fair, with the last snowfall, we get snow warnings all the time, but there's rarely any follow through. If anything, it's usually just a few inches, a light dusting, the whole city locks down. It's a retirement city and everything comes to a grinding halt. I mean, bike lanes and handy dart buses everywhere. So a little bit of something, no snow plows, all of a sudden everything's just on lock. But the last snowfall we got, we did get a couple of feet, which compared to everywhere else is pretty wussy, but retirement city, it doesn't take much. So it was a refreshing change that we were actually included in the snow warning when it came time to hand it out. So that was nice. Still a little frustrating that my go-kart of a vehicle was buried.
Well, it's so gross down there when it snows. That's the problem. It's like everything's so damp and wet, and then it's all melting. And
have you ever smelled a wet hippie? It's disgusting. The whole city reeked. Were your kids making noise? Doing kid stuff? Oh, Joey's muted himself so he can be a dad for a minute. Awesome. Hey there, little children. Bring me a candy bar, please. I am your father. Obey me. Obey my authority and bring me candy bars and a cup of coffee. That's what dads eat, right?
Frankie attempt part 2.
Frankie!
Are you there this time, Frankie?
Hey, bud.
Okay, good. Then let's stop this for a minute. But look at that. That's what you would call an atmospheric river right there. Definitely. That's lots of precipitation there. Trickle. Next week to BC. If you know what I mean. Okay, well, Frankie's here and it's 6:59. And that means in a couple seconds, what am I going to do? I'm going to hit record. We're going to start officially making our radio show.
Oh, God, I got to watch my language.
Yes.
Fuck you all. Fuck you, CRTC, and your stupid bullshit rules about body language.
It's not just them. We don't need to unnecessarily cuss all the time. Frankie, no cussing, okay?
It is part of my comfort zone. My lexicon is colorful. At best, it starts at 4 letters and escalates from there.
Well, now your lexicon has to be deeper.
I will adjust my vernacular.
Good morning, Prince George, and good afternoon, Winnipeg. This is the CoMedeorological Report. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada. It's the last show of the year. Last episode was episode 90. This is episode 91 of Joey Only and Frankie McDonald. We have been 2 years together pretty much now doing this show, and you are hearing it on C for 88.7 FM and CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg and Prince George. Thank you very much. And maybe you're watching us on the YouTube. We live stream on my Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube. You can go there, subscribe, and enjoy the show every Thursday at 7 p.m. So it is Thursday, the 29th of December that we are recording, and it will be New Year's Eve day in Prince George when the show airs, and it will be a brand new year, Winnipeg. Happy New Year, Winnipeg. So Yes, this is the time traveling that we do every week with the radio waves and the internet waves. And yes, so thank you everybody and we have small cast because everyone's at Christmas, but we have the most important people in the whole world, including Imogen Cookie Bailey, Joey Only, myself. I'm your host, and your other host is Frankie the Weatherman, Frankie McDonald. How you doing so far this week, buddy?
Hey guys, sir, someone's birthday today.
Who's?
Gino Bisconte of the host of In Hot Water Show. Gino Bisconte is the host of the Hot Water Show on Monday afternoons and Thursday afternoons. Then I'm going to say an happy birthday to him. I'll say, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gino Bisconte, the host in Hot Water Show on Compound Media. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Gino Piscante, and Planet Earth, because it's a brand new year, Winnipeg. So happy birthday, Planet Earth. What's going on Planet Earth, Frankie?
That needs to go to bring a lot of rain, Los Angeles, California on New Year's Eve.
What else?
And did you hear about this? It's going to bring lots of rain all across the eastern United States and America, New Year's Eve as well. Both New York City and Los Angeles, California, they're getting a lot of rain on New Year's Eve.
Well, that's great news. New
I didn't really hear that, but we just
kind of rain. New Year's Eve. What a great way to celebrate New Year's with an umbrella.
In Los Angeles and New York City, they're going down for the fireworks there.
Score.
Yes. Well, I didn't really hear that, but we saw it on the Windy app, but we were looking at before the show. And yeah, Frankie, what else? Talk to us about the blizzard last week. What happened?
It was really, really bad in Buffalo, New York. The military had to do wellness checks to people in Buffalo, New York that had no power.
Well, they should have been doing that years ago, but finally, wellness checks for Buffalo. What about
it's like the armed forces, the military, the National Guard, and Marines are doing the wellness checks on people in Buffalo.
That's good. Yeah. It's a terrible place to. I don't know how bad of a place it is to live. I just know everyone in the 90s, every time in the 80s, every time I drive through Buffalo, I'd be like, oh my God, let's just get through this so we can see America.
You're just in a hurry to leave.
So poor Buffalo, they keep getting amazing storms. And that's why is that climate change, Frankie?
Pete's supposed to be joining.
Good. Pete Galenko from Colorado coming. Frankie, why is that climate change?
Because of global climate change happening around the world.
Okay, I think yeah, definitely warm water in the lakes there. It makes for exceptional snowfalls, and the warmer the summer, the warmer the water is there. So yeah, we gotta definitely that's happening. Okay, Frankie. So what else is going on the planet Earth right now? Give us all the global weather news.
And did you hear about this? Australia is getting warmer weather all the time now. They're bringing lots of thunderstorms in some parts of Australia, and up around Europe, they're bringing lots of rain and snow up in Norway and lots of wind in the UK from the big windstorm that happened in the eastern United States around Christmas. Bring the windstorms in the United Kingdom and places like this.
What else, Frankie?
And the third one, and did you hear about this?
No.
And guess what? I heard that Pete Galenko's updating it on the Zoom app.
He's right there right now. Hi, Pete Galenko on his updated Zoom. You're driving around Colorado right now.
Yeah, and I'm right next to a big old snowbank in a parking lot, and I was just wondering, why do they call them snowbanks?
Why would you call it? Why would you call it old? Is what I'm wondering. I mean, how old could that snowbank actually be?
Oh, this is fresh snow from yesterday.
Yeah, so it's not a big old snowbank. It's just a big snowbank. We're gonna come back to you in a few minutes, Pete. Frankie, what's going on in Europe?
Over in Europe, it's warm air, cold air fighting each other. Moscow, Russia, it's getting snow. So a little bit of flurries in. Yakutsk, Russia is really, really, really cold as of right now. And China's parts of China's getting cold weather. And did you hear about this? They're bringing a lot of rain in Uganda, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, Madagascar. It's their rainy season. So it's Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, they're in the rainy season now. Venezuela's a lot of thunderstorms and rain and things like this. So it's Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, those places. It's really dry in northern Chile. In southern Chile, it's summertime there right now. Rain and thunderstorms in Argentina and all these places possible. Hail and things like this.
Right. Who's got the worst weather in the whole wide world?
The worst weather in the whole wide world is Los Angeles. Cyclones just hit northern Australia. That was did a lot of damage to northern Australia. And Los Angeles getting a lot of rain that's going to trigger mudslides, landslides, and things like this, including Orange County, California, Hollywood, Burbank, Anaheim, Long Beach, and all these places. And Victorville, California, Corona, California.
Yeah, and you made a video on your YouTube this week about that, didn't you? You made a video this week, didn't you, about that, Frankie?
Sound like an interrogator made a video this week about that, didn't you?
I'm trying to get Frankie to talk because everyone wants to hear Frankie talk.
And did you hear about this? In Southeast Asia, they're bringing a lot of rain to Indonesia. The atmospheric rivers coming all the way to Los Angeles, all the way from Indonesia.
I didn't hear about that either. I mean, I saw the map.
Indonesia's getting so much thunderstorms and rain lately.
I mean, we saw in the map, but no one's talking about it except for you, Frankie.
And I heard it from another weatherman. All those moisture come all the way from Indonesia all the way to California.
Yep. That's the atmospheric river. Sometimes those rivers are aptly named because the one atmospheric river that demolished British Columbia there had, they said, 25 times the volume of water that was in the Nile River at any given time.
The worst weather of the year in Nova Scotia is Hurricane Fiona hit Sydney, Nova Scotia on Saturday, September 24th, 2022. I had no power for the whole week.
Now, would you say that was the worst weather of the year you had?
Hurricane Fiona, all kinds of telephone poles got knocked over and things like this. There was an epic storm.
What are the other big storms of the year, Frankie?
Ice storm, first weekend in February 2022 in Sydney, Nova Scotia. The freezing rain knocked off power from Friday evening until mid-Saturday afternoon.
Any other big weather stories this year you can think of, Frankie?
Hurricane Ian striking Florida in late September 2022. Did a lot of damage to Fort Myers, Florida, knocking off power, things like this. And 100% of Puerto Rico got no power for Hurricane Fiona.
You guys got questions for Frankie?
How was your week, Frankie? You did anything fun for the holidays?
And that means I did things for fun in the holidays. And did you hear about this? I got something to say. Roger the Wild Child is taking a month off in January, and Roger the Wild Child Show Nashville edition will return in February 2023.
What did you get for Christmas, Frankie McDonald?
No sneakers.
Right on. Are they good sneakers?
Yeah.
Are they good for sneaking?
Good sneakers. That means it's at home right now.
Yeah, I guess you don't really want to be wearing sneakers right now, do you?
What's wrong with sneakers? Come on. I wear them everywhere.
Noel's going to join shortly. That's what she said.
Nice. Noel talking to us. We'll get some more of that West Coast weather. Who else, Pete? You got a question for Frankie? Imogen, what's your question for Frankie this week?
I'm circling back to the whole Sharknado thing, although not specifically in tornado format, but I am curious, Frankie Mac, how long would it take to fully freeze a medium-sized shark at -10 Celsius? Long time.
That means the sharks can freeze. Sharknado can freeze because the water goes below zero.
That is a good point. Oh,
I mean,
Noel's not going to be joining us. Oh,
sharks are made of water, you know, and they swim in water.
What about Brandon? How busy is he?
He's at his
sharks are cold-blooded, right? Or are they warm-blooded?
Sharks are good question. Oh,
I think they're warm-blooded. They do have hearts.
Craig Campbell's doing the stand-up comedy.
Well, I guess cold-blooded animals also have hearts. Never mind.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
That was the wrong I was thinking, I was about the anatomy.
Start with the
actually,
hearts, man.
I mean, now
I
that you
think they
mention
are
it,
cold-blooded. Wait, no, they're not. They have to be warm-blooded because they're, uh, I mean, they do like congregate in like off of Florida and stuff like that.
okay, so I mean, just for devil's advocate, I had a human being staying here for 3 weeks who apparently has no heart. So there are mammals with that are heartless.
Are you talking about, never mind.
A
I'll say
bad
I'll jump
house
into it.
guest.
A
Who's
bad house guest. That's what I
Yeah.
had. They spend all day on TikTok. When you
Ew.
say, "Can get this one," and you're like, can you help with something in the house?" And they say,
No,
I
I'm
can't
on
do dishes.
TikTok.
I can't do dishes because textures make gross me out. I mean, you're
What?
staying at my house for free and I'm feeding you, and you can't help.
Because
Right?
Oh, there's a
you're gross. What is in your sink,
the
Joey? What textures are in your sink that are outside the standard of what you would expect? Why?
Well, our water
feel like
was
there's-
frozen for 4 days, 5 days during the cold snap. I mean, come on. I mean, the house, it needed a team effort to get through it together. Frankie, how many people do you got subscribing to you on YouTube this week?
That
That
means I
is
got new
subject
some new
change.
subscribers because I just did a video about a total solar eclipse heading for Sydney, Nova Scotia on Monday, April 8th, 2024. All you guys are coming to Sydney, Nova Scotia.
I'm
dude,
definitely
why
gonna
not?
be there. I'm definitely gonna be there.
Absolutely.
If I have to get a large UPS package and mail myself to Frankie's house.
Holiday Inn in Sydney.
Yeah, but they might not open the package for a day or two. So at least you can, extricate me from my box.
Then you'll be going to Holiday Inn.
Yes, yes. Well, that might be a lot for me to afford, but maybe I'll stay behind the dumpster, sort of behind the Holiday Inn, and then catch up with everybody else once in a while. That's more my
What you
style.
doing up there chilling at the Holiday Inn? Who you with? Saw a few of my friends. Y'all remember
Okay,
that
Pete.
song?
While you're talking, let's try to focus you on talking something coherent. So talk to us about the cold snap you just had, and then talk to us about you got a lot of snow there. And
Yes.
Colorado.
Oh my goodness. Oh Lord. Have mercy on this I don't know how y'all do it in Canada. It got to -5 on like the 21st, 22nd. I was driving Lyft and earlier in the day it was 40 degrees. And then by the evening it got to -5, -6 before the wind uh chill. It got down to like -20 with the wind chill. Oh, that was intense. And I feel terrible for the people that were outside and not aware and not prepared. I think there was a stadium open for emergency shelters for people, but I'm sure, I don't know, God rest the souls of them. Uh, anyway, what's
Okay,
called, so that was pretty intense. And then I went to Mexico for 3 days, which was lovely. Puerto
great.
Vallarta, and the Bay of Bandidos, or however you pronounce it, the Bay of Flags is what it means. And Puerto Vallarta is a lovely uh uh port beach city in Mexico. So right after that cold snap where it got down to -20 with the wind chill, I had some beach days in Mexico, which was awesome. And then I got back here and it started snowing again. Not
Except now
yesterday,
you
but
were weakened by having been in the warm weather, and it was probably especially painful. And that's why I say don't go to warm places. It just makes the cold that
opposite,
much worse.
opposite. The warm weather strengthened me. The cold weather weakens me. Ironically. Uh, that's just me though.
Yeah,
Uh,
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. We don't have to get into that.
Yeah. No,
Well, right on. Pete. So you're driving tonight. You got no customers. You're just sitting there, and must be tough when
well,
you got no customers.
I signed off a Lyft. The demand for Lyft is high today. I'm on the university campus right now, but I was all around yesterday. And please, for the love of God, anybody out there that gets a Lyft, like there was 2 passengers that asked me to like give a heads up if you know that your street is definitely stuck prone, because like this car runs pretty well in this snow as long as I keep momentum. Though when I come to a complete stop, and
Well, why would they tell you that? Because then they
deep
get.
snow.
Why would they tell you that? Then they're gonna have to get out and walk the entire block to get home. Whereas they can just
No, my
they can just get
passengers
you
are friendly.
they can
I
just
had
get
one
you
group.
stuck
I had a group of
in
young
front of their
people that helped
house.
push my car. Then I had another guy that he went and he helped shovel with snow, and then I got a big old bag of like salt, ice salt that I put on their tires. It was an effort to get it out of there, but he ended up having to walk over to his house and then back over to help me anyway. So it was like I don't know. It's like in conditions like that, like I'll ask the passengers next time, like, do you think your road is gonna be like, do you mind walking a block instead of
How clear is
but
your road?
Yeah. Okay. So
I ain't
yeah,
trying to
please.
stay outside too long and get cold in this, like I can't be getting sick. And
Okay.
I read somewhere that cold is not attributed to the common cold being changing the warm weather to cold weather, and that is junk science in my opinion. I've experienced many times where exposure to the cold can get
Well,
the sick,
actually,
so I'm trying to
cold.
stay warm.
Cold is it's not about the temperature. It's about little tiny things that get into your blood and into your lungs and into your sinuses and screw you over. So Pete Glanko, he's got lots of snow. He went to Mexico. He's in Colorado. My name is Joe. This is the CoMedeorological report on C4 88.7 FM, CKUW 95.9 FM. Hilding Donaldson just showed up from Grassy Plains, British Columbia. Any word on the weather before we go to Hilding? Imogen, we haven't asked you.
Yeah, the weather here sucks.
I thought I'd wait till you have a big apple in your mouth.
Oh yeah, thanks. Dick.
Don't make me edit.
How you like them apples?
How do you like them apples there,
Crunchy and juicy and delicious, apparently.
Bailey?
Popping on this big bastard. It has been.
Can you just not swear so I can actually not cut you out of the show?
Hold on. That was that a swear word?
It's unnecessary cussing. There's no need to refer to an apple as a bastard.
Okay, so what is the context where mine is a bad word and yours is not?
Well, because I have to edit it all out now.
The size of this fruit.
I have to edit it all out. That's the context.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah,
So-
and then it's also Imogen. Sorry to correct you, but that apple once had a family tree.
It did. Let the fruit genocide of deliciousness continue. So
Yeah.
Did all your snow melt?
it did. The snow has been gone for basically since like a day after, or it's been gone for a few days now. It's only been, it's been gone for a few days now. We're good. Everything's clear. Once again, it's wet. The hippies are damp, so now there's weird pockets of smell throughout the city, but that's just what happens. But no, it's clear. Mostly rainy, a little damp, little drizzly. Very whiny populace. Not the old people there, you get that, but I mean, it's a weak population here.
Yeah, so the weather in Victoria this week is whiny.
It's very whiny. I'm loving it. I'm loving the misery, the widespread misery, the low-key wussiness. It's not pouring rain. It's a little rainy. And there's so much complaining. It's wonderful.
It's like
Hey,
people are going to
Joey,
complain
when
all
is
the
the
time.
And that means
Yeah.
when you'll be fighting fires again.
Oh, it's gonna be a long time before I'm fighting fires again, Frank. It's definitely not next week. That's for sure. So I think we'll have
In
a
the
show again
summertime.
next week. Yeah, probably not till July, maybe June. You never know. Hilding Donaldson, he's had lots of fires out by his place. He's out near Francois Lake, Grassy Plains, British Columbia. Evening, Hilding Donaldson. How's your weather reports been going?
Oh, it's going okay here. We kind of were in a limbo like last night and this morning. It was like it was clouded over, but it wasn't snowing and it was just kind of holding. And then this morning it broke and it started to snow again. So we had about 3 centimeters of snow today, just enough to make things really messy. The roads are sloppy. They haven't plowed them off. And I was out a little bit, tried to fix the 4x on my snowplow truck, and it was work to get from here to the shop because the road is that bad. But other than that, I mean, the weather is fairly mild. It was only like -5 today.
What's that approximate distance?
From here to the shop, it's
Yeah,
about 15 kilometers.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. It's not like you're like, it was hard to get to the shop. I'm like imagining like, you're looking at your shop and you're like, because most,
No, I rent a shop from the neighbor, so I have to drive over there.
and the neighbor's 15 kilometers. God, I love the North. So you've been making your daily weather reports?
Yes. Yeah. Keeping up.
Okay.
You can-
I've been making these weather reports, everybody, and I've been talking about this, that there's an extreme avalanche warning, a special avalanche warning that's in effect for most of the interior BC mountain ranges, basically. And so I'm screaming from the top of the hills, don't be going in the mountains right now. Stay off the steep terrain. And so there's been incidents and incidents and incidents. No one's been killed yet, but another one today right here in the mountains outside Wells. One person not injured was caught up in the avalanche, but not buried. But eventually here, we're going to start getting large scale avalanches. And I just wanted to also note here, so Noelle McKee can't make it on the show tonight because her computer's out of commission until she gets the power cord fixed. And I had to because she's such a punk rock metalhead, how she spelled power cord.
It's one of the many reasons we love Noelle.
That's kind of punny. She spelled it as in power cord, for your radio listeners, the word chord is like something you make with your guitar for loud sounds. Power chords. That's a middle, right, Frankie? What's your favorite song, Frankie?
Speeches by the presidents of the United States of America.
Still, still.
Hey,
Well, that's your right.
That was a great way to put that. Way to frame it, Joey.
peaches come from a can. They were put there by a man in a factory downtown.
Okay,
I have
so
my little place.
yes,
Voice of
Pete.
an angel, Pete.
But
Voice of an
they
angel.
say,
Okay, Pete. Let's not waste precious airtime.
And down in Antarctica,
That song.
24-hour daylight. Down below Antarctic Circle, the next sunset takes place around January 23rd, 2023.
That's right. Okay, so I got the next topic here coming up, and I'm going to put on the share. This is according to Environment Canada, the top weather stories of 2022. And look at that, Frankie. Number 1, Furious Fiona strikes Eastern Canada. So you got that
I
one.
got that video. I just did a video before Fiona strikes Canada. I did a video of myself. I got a lot of views on TikTok, and I got a lot of views on YouTube as well.
Yeah, well, you got number 1. You are the number 1 weather story this year, Frankie. Furious Fiona strikes Eastern Canada. Number 2 is the $1 billion Doreau show that raked across Ontario and Quebec. Do you remember this one?
Yeah.
Just before May long weekend, 2 days of intense heat and humidity propelled a hugely powerful line of storms across central Ontario and Quebec, bringing torrential rains, large hail, frequent lightning. However, it was a swath of downburst winds that resulted in the most damages. They call this kind of system a Doreau show, a group of thunderstorms that move in a straight line, much like a front line advancing soldiers in a battlefield. For the first time in Environment Canada's history, it issued a broadcast immediate severe thunderstorm alert through National Public Alerting System. Man, this is just get to the point. What happened, Environment Canada? Around noon On May 21st, the skies were foreboding. Of course they were. The storm cluster moved quickly, traversing 1,000 kilometers from Sarnia to Quebec City with a damage over 100 kilometers wide. It took just 3 paragraphs to find that out. Who's writing this crap? Embedded at the leading edge of the system was a tornado that touched down in Uxbridge with the maximum wind speed of 195 kilometers an hour. 2 other tornadoes were documented south of London. One intense downburst in South Ottawa had velocities of 190 kilometers an hour. This was quite the storm.
Hurricane Fiona is next.
So-
You have to click the Hurricane Fiona number 1.
Well, I figured because you could just tell us the story, Frankie. Tell us the story of Hurricane Fiona, rather than us have to read
Hurricane
what it
Fiona.
says. What happened for you, Frankie? What was Hurricane
I
Fiona?
lost power for a whole week. That means I had to charge my phones at the Civic Center and Daniels Bar because my house had no power for a week. I had when I went out, I had to carry plugs to charge my smartphones and devices when I went outside because it was so bad. Trees were down and everything, telephone poles, and I was watching it crews to fix and the power guys to fix the power and things like this.
When the power was out,
Frankie,
did you
that
pick-
song you used to sing, was that Fiona or something else? It was a name, one of your older YouTube videos.
I don't know. Let's stay on topic here.
Well, to be fair, I'd like to highlight that there's a real good chance that Fiona being such a major story was partly due to Frankie's coverage of it. Because Frankie was producing a lot of videos and he gets a lot of traffic. And Frankie has a great way of bringing things into social consciousness. So his coverage alone would have given, the story itself a boost. It was a major event, but it also had the Frankie bump. So just kind of
began
that out there.
I got another news for you. Did you hear about this? Extreme meteorologist and storm chaser Aaron J. Jack has met me in person to May 5 on Friday, September 23rd, 2022, just before Fiona struck Nova Scotia.
When your power was out, Frankie, what happened? Did your chicken fingers thaw out and things like that?
That means I ordered Chinese food. It was cooked.
What about your food that was in the freezers?
It's hot out and things like this. People are filling in fuels for the generators, things like this.
Right. So it began on September 14th.
It was
Caribbean
Leah.
as a tropical depression. It was a category hurricane. It brought powerful winds to Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, and before becoming a category 3. East of Bahamas, reached category 4. 12 days later and 4,000 kilometers away, it dissipated in the Labrador Sea over much cooler waters. On September 22nd, a separate mid-latitude storm stretching from Hudson Bay to Labrador brought wet weather. At the same time, Fiona grew larger with its strong winds and heavy rain spreading all the way from the storm center to an expansive 800-kilometer diameter. Over the next 2 days, the storm quickly emerged into an extremely powerful post-tropical system with characteristics of a strong hurricane and a strong fall cyclone. So it reached a minimum pressure of 932 millibars near the eye, and the reading smashed Canada's previous all-time sea level pressure at 940, set in 1977. So went through Cape Breton on the 24th, and over the Gulf of St. Lawrence and Newfoundland during the day. It finally reached Quebec's lower shore on September 25th, and 150 millimeters of rain occurred in some places in the Maritimes. 30 millimeters per hour, flash floods, significant storm surges, especially in PEI, and 180 kilometer winds were felt along north shore of Nova Scotia. This was a very strong storm, man. It was and did anyone die, Frankie?
That means people die over Port Basque, Newfoundland because of that.
No one died in Nova Scotia, though, did they?
It's really bad.
Okay. Manitoba's drenching spring got number 3. And that's, we got Manitoba listeners here from CKW. So this, you got, you had the third highest snowfall since 1872. It recorded 331 millimeters of precipitation, making it the wettest on record. It was 36 times the 30-year normal.
Well,
Record
dang.
readings. At the peak flooding, 45 municipalities and 9 First Nation communities were affected. More than 1,000 residents of Peguis First Nation had to be evacuated. Historic. Wasn't necessarily historic, but
It's a wild photo. How deep do you think the water is there? I mean, looking at the bench, it can't be that deep in that shot, but still, that's
There's
brilliant.
somebody
photo.
saying hi to me.
Who is it, Frankie?
A fan of mine driving up the street.
Oh yeah, they're not there
What about
anymore.
Hurricane Ian that hit Florida? What happened down Florida in late September for Hurricane Ian?
Well, I think that was a really powerful storm, but it didn't make Canada's top 10 because Florida, despite the fact a lot of Canadians go there, it's not actually Canada. Return to hot and dry weather under the dome. That was another big story. So really hot in parts of the West at times. Wildfires on 2 coasts. A wintry spring in British Columbia, but no floods really. Superstorms track across the prairies in July. That was a big one. Yeah, at least 4 powerful thunderstorms, hail, everything. Yeah, between Calgary and Edmonton. Severe hail, yeah, ice balls, clogging, tornadoes near Medicine Hat. Popular country music in Craven, 50 millimeters of rain produced a sea of mud requiring a lengthy cleanup. I mean, we love that stuff at a punk party. You'd be like just swimming in that stuff. Barbecues flew off decks. Oh my goodness. I hope people got their burgers off in time. And siding was ripped away. Ditches were filled to the brim. And 3/4 of the basements and 2 of them were flooded after 168 millimeters of rain in 24 hours. The town of Lebu was hardest hit. 140 millimeters of rain. That's a lot of rain, man. And hailstones as large as eggs and baseball size in Saskatchewan. Powerful winds at the Big Valley Jamboree in Camrose were strong enough to rip tents and awnings. A tornado touched down in Coronation on July 31st. Later, another weak tornado was near Kindersley in Swift Current. And 25 tornadoes in total. So half the tornadoes in the prairie this year occurred in July, with 11 in Saskatchewan, 6 in Alberta, 1 in Manitoba. Saskatchewan had one of the busiest tornado seasons on record, with 25 tornadoes in total, including 7 twisters on July 29th alone. Following 4 major storms, farmers were picking up pieces of their crops and homes, while others were feeling lucky, having been spared. 100,000 bushels of crops destroyed. Storm killed numerous livestock, property insurance, not counting crop losses, was $250 million. Alberta suffering, and there's a wall cloud trying to create a tornado right there in Saskatchewan. Credit to Darren Dick.
I'd just like to take a moment to appreciate the use of bushel as a current measurement. We don't get enough of that.
Yeah, that's biblical stuff, man. And that's what you talk about when you have biblical plagues and locusts and tornadoes. And Montreal swamped by humongous rainstorm. There it is.
That's
Montreal,
where Base
really
Guy
wet.
lives. That's where Jack Casey, aka Base Guy Show, lives.
Number 9 was the record-breaking cold. The only place in the world colder at that time was in Yakutsk, Russia, at -48. So, and this is late in December 2021. So this wasn't even this year. But this year started, and then 3 weekend storms in Atlantic Canada. Do you remember this in January 15th, Frankie? Cape Breton got hit by storms, and so did Newfoundland in places. Do you remember this?
Yes.
What was it like?
First, the snow changed over the rain, changed back to snow.
Then what happened?
And then 2 days after, a day after Super Bowl in Sydney, Nova Scotia, I had a snowstorm on February 14th, 2022. And guess what? Sydney, Nova Scotia had a lot of freezing rain. And first weekend in February 2022, that COVID restrictions were still around in Nova Scotia at that time. Early January, February, March, COVID-19 restrictions are still around. Limited capacity is still around. COVID restrictions in Nova Scotia still under a public health emergency in January, February, and March 2022.
Hilding Donaldson, what was, in your experience, the worst weather that you recall, the worst thing in 2022 in Grassy Plains? If people don't know where Grassy Plains and Francois Lake is, it's near Burns Lake, sort of south of.
Great south of Burns Lake.
Like cyclones hit New Zealand and places like this, and so lots of tornadoes down in the central states in the spring and things like this. And did you hear about this? They had a lot of tornadoes and severe weather down in the central states In June, Wisconsin had a big rainstorm and thunder and lightning.
No, I didn't. So what would you say for you, Hilding, was the worst weather you saw last year?
Well, I would say what affected us the most in this area was the cold, wet spring. It was like we weren't seeding in the field until the end of June, which is just unheard of. And the grass it grew great, but we were wanting sunshine. It was just something we just never had here, was that cold of a spring.
I do recall that. It sucked, actually.
I mean, it made up for it in July. It evaporated all that water. We thought our fields were soaking wet. We started making hay and our tractors were digging up soggy, wet slosh onto the windshield the first couple of days. And in a week's time, it was almost too dry. And we actually had a fire season this fall, which we were surprised about.
Yeah, I got a bit of work. I fought some fires for sure. And it got pretty dry. I mean, when I was up in Mackenzie in September, it was insanely dry. I mean, you look at Mackenzie, it's not rainforest there, but it's closer to it than, say, the dead interior of BC is, right? Like it's on that rain side of the Rocky Mountains there, right? They get a lot of precipitation, man. And it was dry as a bone. Like you could dig down, you weren't finding moisture down there. So and then we had those really big fires at the Battleship Mountain fire. And then we had that incredible rainstorm come through late in September, and it washed the roads to the fire out. So they're going to send us to that fire. And they're like, well, actually, everybody at that fire is still sitting at camp because they can't actually go anywhere. And so that was the end of my fire season. Let her burn, I guess, until there's no road. But yeah, the rain, it was like 80 millimeters of rain hit it, in one night alone.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever heard the song "I Get It Out the Mud"?
No.
I don't know
The
that
Kevin
one.
You're going to
Gates
sing it
song.
for us, though. I know you are. So just get it
Please
over
do.
with.
It's the main lyrics. I get it out the mud. I get it out the mud.
I was kidding.
I forget a
Oh,
I
lot
was
of the lyrics
kidding.
to that, but
Please stop
anyway,
singing.
Pete,
Kevin
no,
Gates.
Pete.
If y'all have listened to that song while experiencing those muddy conditions, it might actually it would be good work music, in my opinion, in those type of conditions.
Now this year, Pete, you've been to
Motivation.
Virginia.
Don't get tired, as Kevin
Okay,
Gates.
already.
Dear Lord, Pete, Count Chocula
No more
hates you
singing.
now.
No more singing, Pete. So this year, Pete, you've been to Virginia, you've been to Pennsylvania, you've been to Mexico, you've been to Colorado. Where else have you been this year? You've been to a lot of places.
Virginia, Pennsylvania, Colorado, and then well, that was last year. That was the count. I was in LA last year, right before New Year's. Honestly, it's not a lot of places compared to some years. I've been to dozens and dozens of cities here in
So here's the question
towns,
then. That was the framing. Here's the question.
metropolitan areas in Colorado.
The question is, what was the
and then
worst?
also a bunch of states between Colorado and here when driving here from Virginia.
Oh yeah, there you go. So what was the worst weather you saw this year? That's the question.
The worst weather was
You've been
before-
everywhere, so you may have some good stories.
The worst weather was on the 21st or 22nd when it with that -20 wind chill. Oh my goodness, that was a doozy that day, and the weather changed so quickly too, and then that was and then hold on. When I first moved out here, there was that random hailstorm in the summer out of nowhere. That was pretty wild, and there was a lot of flooding under bridges. And like the city was at a shutdown for a minute there. I was driving a rapper from New Orleans. Said, well, he's not a rapper as a profession, but has some songs, and we had a little adventure. Anyway, that was that hailstorm. That was crazy. I had to take cover in a garage for a concert complex.
How big were the stones?
Honestly, it was around like some of them, I would say golf ball size, though there were some big ones. Not quite golf ball size, but it was still no joke though.
Big hail.
And it went on for a while with also a lot of rain really fast. And it was like, oh, no.
I don't seem to have many memories last year of really bad thunderstorms, and that's kind of a departure compared to most years where we get some real powerful ones, right? I don't have many real mind-blowing thunderstorm moments from last year. And that's, there was lots of lightning, but just nothing
A tree
extreme.
almost fell on
Really.
me last night.
Oh yeah.
A tree, yeah. Like you see how there's like these
They get
Charlie
snow-loaded.
Brown looking trees. Yeah, they got snow loaded. So last night it dumped snow. It got like over a few feet in some places, and over like a pretty short period of time. And the trees were, there was one tree on one of my routes where the branches were going all the way over across the road, and like 50 feet in front of me, the weight of the snow broke the branches, and it wasn't like just small branches either. It was like, and at first, from my point of view, it looked like it was just snow falling off of the tree, though it was the entire like big old. It was like
Damn.
not half the tree, but it was like significant though. It just fell right in front of my car.
I had
I
a
was
branch
like,
like that
"What?"
break off and land next to me, and it was like it crashed, and it had like a lot of snow on it. And when it hit the ground, and I was standing there talking to my buddy Dave McKillican, and for some reason I just decided to go over and lean on his truck instead of standing where I was standing. And then all of a sudden, like no sooner had I leaned on the truck right where I was standing, that it was like whoomph. I was just like, we were both like, holy, like. But yeah, when because the snow gets wet,
honestly, like a
because here
like
we get so much snow in the trees, and we get that same kind of effect. But often the snow is powdery, so they're snow loaded. But yeah, the weight isn't there.
But I think I think the real important question that I'm kind of stuck on here is, how does that affect the Keebler community? When the trees are breaking open, the elves inside, they're now exposed to the elements. Do we have a Red Cross situation set up to help the elves? Or are we just stealing the cookies? Is this what happens? The trees break open, the elves are homeless, and now we just loot their cookies? Yeah, you don't know what to say, do you? You've got a handful of cookies behind your back already.
Okay, here's some questions for Frankie. Susan Payne wants to know, Frankie, will you be coming to British Columbia in the near future?
Not only that, but all over the world, including third world countries.
Where are you going to go, Frankie?
Don't know yet.
I hope someday the Frankie World Tour. I like when you list off where you're going. That's my favorite. So the next question was from Christine. What's your favorite city to visit?
Unknown.
Susan Payne reminds us that sharks are ectothermic and most are cold-blooded. Just in case.
I got something to say. Total solar eclipse is taking place in Sydney, Nova Scotia on Monday, April 8th, 2024. Here comes Sydney, Nova Scotia on Friday, April 5th, 2024.
I'm going to get there. If I have to.
Oh, yeah.
If I have to steal a helicopter, I will be there.
I'm gonna be there for sure.
Okay. What am I going to do next? We got 15 minutes of recording left. Imogen, we haven't asked you what was the worst weather you saw in 2022.
Question, probably during the summer when we had a day that was roasting hot enough, it fried my monitor. It got so hot on my balcony that when I had my laptop outside, it roasted my monitor, and I'm using my laptop now, but I've got a curved screen monitor plugged into it because I can't use the monitor. I never got it fixed. I just sort of left it. I had another screen that I wanted to use instead. but that would be the worst weather of the year, was frying my computer outside, frying the monitor.
Yeah, so you call it the worst weather, not the worst
That was awful.
short-sightedness, the worst short-sighted moment of your year.
You know what? I'm not a fan of the heat. I prefer this miserable cold winter. If everyone else is whining and complaining because it's, 10 degrees outside, it's not that cold, and I'm pretty happy about it. So I thrive on the misery of others. So
You can always put clothes on, but it's hard to cool yourself down once it gets hot.
I know, and I don't wear a lot of clothing to begin with. So during the summer, I did half my streams and shows and whatnot in a bikini, because it was just hot and miserable and awkward, and clothing was a form of restrictive hell. So
Yeah, and we hate summer too.
no, you don't. You lie.
That part was pretty good, actually.
Where's
do
Gabriel
miss that
Barretto
part.
tonight?
Wasn't trying to
Oh
show
yeah,
off. I
Gabriel
was
Barretto doesn't
uncomfortable.
feel like coming on the show. The last show of the year, he doesn't feel like it. I get it though. He's probably been worked a lot or something, or I don't know. He's emotional or something. I don't know. Gabriel doesn't feel like coming on the show. Doesn't matter what I feel like. I gotta come on.
No one cares,
It's
Yeah.
my show, I guess. So like, you can't pity me, right?
He's probably doing his TikTok videos. This
He's
is
probably-
a Gabriel thing. He does TikTok videos. He does a ton of them. He does them a lot, and so he's probably doing TikTok.
I actually
Yeah.
hate TikTok. I've decided I'm just going to be out with it from now on and just admit I hate TikTok. I think it's garbage.
I think that about Twitter. TikTok, I
I
don't
always
like
did
much
too.
better.
Twitter needs improvement. I'm still waiting. Elon, I want to sit down with Elon and be like, hey, y'all still got some problems here. He
Well,
promised
yeah,
this, that, and
Not
the other.
me. I want
The
to
problem.
slap him around like a little
See,
friggin'
you know what?
child.
Twitter, my reach on Twitter quadrupled once certain changes started happening internally. So like I don't use
My reach
Twitter a
has
lot.
continually declined over the years, and I used to have I peaked at 1 million page views a day in 2017 before that account was taken, and I was hoping under new management I could get that account back. And then I had a second account after that was suspended over some nonsense with under their old management. And my new account,
Yeah.
they won't let me do the professional account version to expand my reach. And I feel like just using hashtags and Photoshops, I was able to gain a lot of reach and a lot of followers really easily back in 2017 when I started on Twitter, or 2016 I started on Twitter, I think.
Well, I think, if you want to get those Twitter followers up, you got to work on being funny. That's
I don't need to work on being funny. I got that down pat. I don't know. Other
Just
people
more
of
think
a
I'm,
karaoke.
we
think I'm
all
funny.
agree that Twitter is actually garbage, and then we all agree that TikTok's garbage. So then I'm just starting to wonder, is Telegram
media is
garbage?
garbage.
Are
Come
all
on,
sites
we
that
know
start with the
this.
letter T bad?
Social media is garbage. We know this. We all use it. We all complain about it, but it's garbage. We know this.
It's
Each
like
platform
clowns and
has its-
trolls on
its-
social media. There's too many clowns and trolls.
Too many clowns and trolls, Frankie, and teenagers.
I would like to see more
It's
organic.
infested.
I feel like the algorithms are not necessarily rewarding organic content creators as much as it used to. I try to be optimistic about it though, and I hope that there's improvements. As much of a critic as I may be, and as much as social media platforms in general are probably largely sort of data mining and social engineering to a degree, though.
Well, each platform
Whatever.
has- each
I miss
platform has its own
MySpace. It was
bias.
better than Twitter, But yeah, I
MySpace
never really
was
liked
fun.
Twitter. And I guess for me, it's the whole thing was like, well, you got 45 words to say something. And I'm like, no. And I feel that way about TikTok. You got 45 seconds to say something. No,
Well,
don't make me, and everyone's just scrolling through
you
now.
miss
And like,
MySpace, don't ya?
I
You're
do
still
miss
hanging out with
MySpace because I was
MySpace,
Jake the
Tom.
Snake Roberts' friend on MySpace. I was on Jake the Snake Roberts' top friends list. Jake
Oh,
the
dude,
friggin'
yeah.
Snake Roberts, man. He liked the Joey Only Outlaw band. And now
MySpace
I don't
was
know where
awesome.
to find Jake the Snake Roberts no more.
Dude, MySpace was just, I loved it. It was so good. Like the people that I was connected to on that platform and what I was doing with like professionally on the creative side, it was just insane. The people I was talking to are not people I would ever say hi to me in the real world, but we would have meaningful conversations. It was pretty awesome.
MySpace
MySpace
was
was. I started some of my first entrepreneurial activities on MySpace when I was 12 years old. I reached out to a bunch of bands and artists and made them sample websites when a lot of people didn't have their own websites. And I ended up working with a rapper from Georgia, I believe, Young Wine, and then he changed his name because Google results would just show Wine results rather than his rap name. I think he had some major names on some of his mixtapes, but it was kind of cool. Neither of us made any money off the website, though. It was fun.
The thing with
MySpace was the good days of like
I heard that
Then they started changing
networking
it.
and music.
What do you got, Frankie?
Hurricane Fiona and Hurricane Ian are going to be retired this April coming up.
Yeah, there'll never be another Fiona again. So it's like,
Are
you
there
know what's
any
going to
new,
happen is like next time that Fiona's due to come up and there's like a tropical low starts coming up and like, well, what's next? It's Fiona's turn. And you know what'll happen is the storm will dissipate because the
Fiona's
man
going to be
retired.
retired this April coming. So's Ian.
Yeah, so
So are
any
there any
storm
new
named Fiona
names
from
coming
now
up in
on,
hurricanes?
any storm that
Another F name, female F name storm, definitely replacing Fiona. Another I name storm, definitely going to replace Ian for the future hurricane season.
I see. That's how it works. Right. So, no, they just won't name a storm. Wouldn't that be cool though if they retired that name and they're like, well, what's next? Well, Fiona's a, and the storm. Sorry, can't be a storm, and then just dissipates harmlessly out to sea. And they just start retiring all the names. Who's dinging me? People talking at me. You're listening to the CoMedeorological Report on CFR 88.7 FM, CKW 95.9 FM. I'm Joey Only here in Wells, British Columbia. It's a town up in the mountains where not very much happens, well, at least until I bring the wrong people to town, and then all kinds of drama happens. But that's over now.
That means I'm going to say happy birthday to someone to say, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gino Bisconte, the host of the Hot Water Show on Compound Media on Monday afternoons and Thursday afternoons. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Best birthday.
And happy birthday, planet Earth, to another year. Earth is turning
Happy birthday,
2022 years, 23 years old.
That means happy birthday,
sure
Gino
is.
Bisconte.
Happy birthday, Gino.
Gino Bisconte, the host of the Hot Water Show on Compound Media. Happy birthday, Gino Bisconte. And have a great birthday from Frank Down.
Happy birthday, Gino, and happy birthday, planet Earth. Earth is now 2023 years old. You know, it's a big number for good old Earth.
It's older
there.
than that because BC, that's before Son of God was born.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we know that the Earth is 6,000 years old, right, Frankie?
We know
Million
a lot
years
of
ago,
things.
They had a Jurassic period, Cretaceous period, before the humans, Earth still exists. The dinosaurs were around.
The Earth has spent 4.5 billion years evolving to get to this incredible point where human beings just sit there and scroll on TikTok all day as if nothing in the whole world matters or is interesting whatsoever outside of their little screen. 4.5 billion years of evolution has brought us to this.
Well, Joey, I'm not sure if this show is ever going to take off on YouTube with that attitude about social media.
Hey, I like YouTube.
Even if you're not wrong, YouTube, all right.
I'm
Well,
on
let's see.
YouTube. I just
Roll
think
the
TikTok
dice.
is dumb. I think that you spend 15 seconds scrolling, then next, and next. And I had this person here who spent 12 to 14 hours a day scrolling on TikTok just endlessly. And I try to get her in, I give her like books or like, hey, have you seen this album before? And be like, just disinterested, like empty. Frankie, how do people find you on the friggin' internet, man?
My social media is my Twitter is at Frankie McD. My Facebook is Frankie McDonald. My Instagram is Frankie McD1984. My TikTok's FrankDown1984. My Clapper is FrankDown1984. My Twitch is FrankDown1984. My TikTok is FrankDown1984. My Clapper is FrankDown1984. My Twitch is FrankDown1984. My Snapchat is Frankie AMCDON. And my Twitch is FrankDown1984. My LinkedIn is Frankie McDonald. And my YouTube channel is Dogs and Wolves. Best luck to you. I'm Frank Down. You're listening to me, Ross Square Report with Joey Only. And
That's
happy
right.
birthday, Gino Bisconte. Happy birthday, Gino Bisconte of Compound Media, the hosting the Hot Water Show. And happy great birthday, Gino Bisconte from Frank Down.
And happy birthday, Planet Earth. This is the CoMedeorological Report. I am Joey Only, your host, and you've been hearing us on C88.7 FM, CKW 95.9 FM. Shout out to the station coordinators for playing us every week, and I know they enjoy the show. And shout out to all you meteorology students in Winnipeg and all you forestry students in Prince George. This show is for you. I mean, who else is going to like a show about weather and stuff like that? And Imogen.in, you can find her online. Hilding Donaldson's been putting his weather reports now on Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers. That's the Facebook group I run. So if you live in British Columbia, join Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers. You can see Hilding's weather reports right there. And next we'll have Pete back next week. In fact, hey, Frankie, we're not going to have a show until next year.
That means next week, it'll be next year.
That's right.
Yeah, see y'all next year.
But you always love that as a kid when you say goodnight to your parents. Like, I'll see you next year.
2022
Yeah, we'll
will
see
be
you folks next
2020
year.
and 23.
2022, I mean, it mostly sucked. I mean, I'm happy. I've lived a pretty good life.
Mostly suck. How was it
But I
bad?
mean, nothing awesome happened.
Well,
you
that
know, it's
doesn't
just like-
suck.
It's like a year of treading water in my life, basically.
Okay, lack of forward momentum might be a unit of measurement of suckage. It's
Yes.
still not that bad. I mean, look at the year
That's-
before that. That was a
In fact, that's
write-off.
the only measurement of suckage that matters.
We
I
did have
really
some pretty awesome,
appreciated-
like giant killer bees or something. That was cool. That was 2021. That was an apocalypse
Hey.
bingo. Yeah.
I haven't got to see Avatar yet.
Philippines.
So, I
Avatar.
mean, maybe I'll see it in the next 2 days, and that'll save 2022 for me. So you've been hearing the CoMedeorological Report, and I'm Joey Only, and this will be back next year. And this has been our show. I hope you enjoyed it. And okay, that's all for now. Bye, everybody. See
Hey,
you
there's
next
a skeleton
time.
behind me.
See you next
Yeah,
year.
okay.
Skeleton.
Bye now. Okay. Yeah. There we go.
Hey, Frankie's gone. No wonder he disappeared when he first popped in. It was like 5 minutes too early.
Yeah,
Dude
you
had to
realize
duck out
like,
and-
yeah, that's enough
He had
for
to go
me.
Franklinate somewhere.
Frankie don't fucking hang around any longer than he's got to.
Oh no, Frankie's got
Frankie is
a
about his business. He's on and he's off. I'm about to sign off too, though. It's been lovely.
Yeah,
And
love you all.
It's,
Happy New Year. And I'm definitely going to go and catch the third period of the Maple Leafs game. And then I think my kids and I might watch the last episode that's put out of the new Willow series. Some of the writing is kind of cheap, but it's well done. It's pretty good. It's not Andor good.
The soundtrack to it is abysmal. Modern
Yes.
music done in a shitty hipster way. The thing that really angered me about it was their version of Black Hole Sun. That is Chris Cornell's
Actually-
voice is absolute poetry. He has the most beautiful voice of some human. And here's some warbling, caterwauling fucking hipster with an acoustic. They're not playing the song. They're just grab some shitty poetry off the internet and scream that out, you dumb. It was the worst version of a song I've ever heard. And
I don't know if it's the
using-
worst I ever heard, but it didn't need to be made. You know, there's
It was
already a pretty good version. You know, that's like I thought about when I covered songs as a country singer. It's like, well, can I add anything to it? It didn't mean like, can I do it differently? But I mean, like, you know, here's a good example. Bands would play Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
and they'd go, and I hang my head and cry. And I'd be like, that's not how the song goes. It goes, I hang my head and cry. And if you can't hit that low note, you shouldn't sing the damn song. I'm not singing Celine Dion because I can't hit those notes, you know. So like that's when I say if you can't add something to a song, you shouldn't be covering it. I don't necessarily mean make it different anyway, but if you're, you know, maybe it means make it a little different or your own inflection. But I mean, I don't think that was an addition of any sort. Right? But I can live with that song. But you do make a point that I didn't start to. I mean, I picked up in the first episode. Oh, that's a transition music coming. The episode's over, and then the next time I think it was Metallica, which I thought was sort of a cheesy choice for a
fantasy series.
Yeah, you know, but I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I can live with it, I guess. And then when Black Hole Sun came on,
it was so bad.
But I know you love that song, and you know, I have nothing against the song. It's just
the song itself.
I just thought this song's got nothing to do with fucking Willow.
It has nothing to do with it. And the version was so bad that any positivity in the episode was destroyed with that musical choice.
Like, can you not pick a song that applies to the damn show?
Yeah. First off, the music should actually fit what's going on in some capacity. Otherwise, you might as well just listen to your neighbors play their fucking radio as a soundtrack to whatever the hell you're doing. Irrelevant.
This is like how in the 90s, and the early 2000s, so many movies had that real preppy quality to them, you know, and it's just
what's it called? One last thing, I'm about to sign off though on the topic earlier about cold weather and yes, viruses and stuff. But if you have a weakened immune system, the cold weather can make your body have to work harder than it already is, causing your vulnerability to viruses increases is a thing. So you gotta dress warm, be prepared, and all that sort of good stuff. But I'm gonna peace out and make some more money.
Yeah,
maybe interrupt y'all's fun. Yeah, taking vitamins and stuff though. It's staying warm and whatnot.
Yeah, thanks to anybody who's still sticking around, and I guess that's us for this week and for this year. And hope you enjoyed it. And we'll make I'll make the full episode and put it up on the YouTube here so that the edited version with the extra clips and all that. And so, anyways,
Happy New Year or whatever.
Happy New Year, everybody. Bye for now.
Happy New Year.